Welcome to Write to Publish, your go-to podcast for all things writing and publishing. I'm Karen Stanley, a 14 times published author and the founder of Mabel and Stanley Publishing. Join me as I share a multitude of tips and insights drawn from my own writing and publishing journey. We'll be hearing from some inspirational authors too, who will share their writing experiences and top tips for success. Each week, we'll learn about an aspect of writing, from composition to genre and from publishing to marketing. Listen in as we learn and chat about all things writing and publishing, and let's get you on the right path.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Write to Publish with me, Karen Stanley. It's lovely to have you all tuning in and listening to my dulcet tones. All the way through July and August, we've been doing a series of author interviews with some of our Mabel and Stanley authors and also authors from other publishers, talking about their writing journeys, what their motivations and inspirations were, and what they found good about the process, or maybe not so good, the tears, the tantrums, and the successes. So I'm joined today by the lovely Rose Gibson, and she's going to talk to us about her book and where she's at with it now. Hi, Rose.
Hi, Karen. I'm excited to be here.
Lovely. It's lovely to have you on. So do you want to tell listeners, and obviously some people will be watching this on the YouTube channel, which is great. So some of us will see us in the flesh as well, aren't they lucky? Let's introduce yourself and talk to us about a little bit about the title of your book and what it's about, first of all.
So my name is Rose. I am the founder and director of the national brand BabyBeats. So we provide classes for new mums and their babies. So we run right up and down the country, and my book is aimed at new mums, and it's called I'm Fine. So what you should know before having a baby, but you don't always get told. So it's all the bits that are not in those clinical leaflets that you get given at the hospital or in your antenatal classes, all the things that we think we shouldn't think, but we all do. So it's just normalizing the emotions after having a baby.
Yeah, it's quite an emotional time, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I was talking to my daughter-in-law the other day about this. She had a cesarean, and if you had any other kind of surgery like that, you wouldn't then be expected to lift 9 to 10 pounds at 55 intervals of a day, however many times you have to lift the baby up. And, you're expected to just have a baby, move on, get on with it. Like you say, I'm fine, everything's cool. It's supposed to look like some romantic rom-com. It's not, it's beautiful, but it's not always like that, is it?
It is. It's beautiful, but it's messy as well. And that's the beauty of it. And I think for me, a big highlight is how much we see on social media of new motherhood and our expectations versus the reality. And I think the day and age that we're in, so many women are seeing stuff on social media that it doesn't live up to those expectations. And it just needs to normalize the fact that it's okay if you feel really rubbish. It's okay if you're tired. It's okay if you've not got the cute little cards for everything, and then you try and take a picture and baby's crying, and it's just the messy parts, and that's what it's meant to be like. It's not this Instagram perfect postcard.
Yeah, it's a kind of a dangerous world we live in, isn't it? For young girls, for new mums, we're all these homes that are tidy all the time, and it's a dangerous path to go down, isn't it? Comparison is the thief of joy, they say, something like that.
I think it is, and I think it's gone from us as maybe like looking back historically at women and our roles as mothers. It's gone from us maybe not knowing as much to now overseeing what everyone else is doing and comparison. So if you look back sort of 80 years ago, the women that were sort of fumbling through it, going, I think this is right, but I don't know, and there's no one checking up on me, to now we are completely in this like world of like Big Brother, where we're all posting stuff, and if you don't meet up to those expectations, it can be a lot for your mental health.
Yeah, bit of an overload. So your book isn't quite published yet, isn't it? We're working on this as we speak. We'll talk about the dreaded editing phase in a minute, because that's the bit where a lot of authors go, crikey, I didn't realise it was as much work as that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your writing journey. I mean, how long ago did you write the book? How long did it take you to write it? What was your journey, really?
So I started it, I think it was about 18 months ago, and in all honesty, it wasn't meant to be a book. So we do loads of free downloads for new mums. We do little bits of tidbits of information, and we do like online courses for them. And it was just meant to be like a little sort of a boost of confidence for new mums that we could kind of pass across to them. And then as I started writing it, it just grew. And it just grew and it grew. And then I was like, this is too much for a leaflet. This is far too in depth. And the more that I've spoke to so many new mums over the last sort of 10 years, and the more I spoke to them, the more I was like, this needs addressing, this needs talking about, let's write a chapter about this. And then it wasn't something that I thought would ever get published, because I've always been dyslexic. So writing, especially as a child, oh my word, English, spelling, anything like that, I don't want to go near. So it was a big thing to write, and keep writing as well. And I'm really lucky that actually my mum is very good at English. So everything that I send out, emails, blogs, she checks, bless her, and she goes through everything. And she's such a good support system. And I sent it to her and I said, look, what do you think of this? Do you think it's worth the paper that it's written on? Is it any good? And she was like, oh, this is amazing. Women need this. And then I sent it to a friend of mine that I went to school with that owns a bookshop. And she was just like, wow, you need to get this out there. So that just sort of then spiraled it of going, okay, I need to keep going with this, and I need to keep building it and keep adding to it.
Oh, I love that. So it's very much a sort of an evolving process. I have a bit of a bugbear as a former teacher. Our children are being sort of taught to write to lists, really, of you must include this, you must include that. And I've always felt, the best writing comes from the heart. It comes from a place of authenticity, and obviously slightly different for non-fiction books as opposed to fiction books. You're basically drawing on all of your knowledge, your experience as a business owner. So thinking about your book, obviously you've written it, initially it was like a freebie guide, and now it's morphed into something completely different. So what are you hoping, because the motivations for writing a business book are very different from the motivations for writing fiction quite often. What are you hoping that this book will do for your business? What are your primary goals and visions for that?
I mean, I think not even necessarily for the business. I think it's on a personal level that when I had my children, I was sort of early 20s, and I did feel quite isolated and lonely. At that time, none of my friends, we'd all finished uni. They'd all gone off to like London, like to do all different things. And I'd kind of come back to my hometown, and I then had this newborn baby, and I didn't have a network of women. I didn't have what I call my village. My mum was still working full time. My sister was working, and I did feel quite isolated, and I felt quite lonely in the emotions that I felt. For me, I would just love somebody to pick it up and read it and go, this is everything that I needed somebody to tell me. That it's okay to feel like this, or to give you that encouragement to head off to a baby class. That can be any baby class, it doesn't need to be ours, but just to find those group of women that are gonna have you back and go, yeah, I'm absolutely exhausted too. I feel you. I'm there. And I think that for me is the biggest motivation of getting it out there, is just that women can pick it up and go, I feel seen and I feel heard, and that they can, use the interactive tools within the book as well, which is another element that, we've added in to sort of understand how they feel about it as well, and where they are in their own headspace.
It's taking that time to reflect, isn't it? And understanding that other people, despite appearances, we're all like the swan, aren't we? Sometimes we're gliding along on the top, and the legs are going like the clappers underneath. So that's important. So you've talked a little bit about, and I've worked with a few authors who've had dyslexia, and we've found different ways to write. One particular author, she actually narrated her book through a kind of app on her computer, because she genuinely struggled with writing. So we've talked a little bit about that as a challenge. So was there anything you use? I know your mum's been a great support, which is amazing, but was there any kind of tools that you used to help you overcome those challenges?
Not really. I mean, for me, I've got the ideas to write. Like, I do have a lot of ideas, and I started writing blogs probably about 8 years ago, when we were putting them in the website to help with the business, like all SEO and everything. So I've got the ideas to write. My thing was, I could read it back and it would make sense to me, but it wouldn't necessarily make sense on paper. So just having that person to proofread it. And I mean, even things like being able to write and it telling you that something's spelt incorrectly. Like, my spelling's terrible, so I would have to type something and I'd be like, oh, it's giving me the wiggly line, but I don't know which one's correct. Just basic tools like that. I mean, I think on a scale of like dyslexia, I'm not terrible, but I think having that labeled from a young age always then I would be scared to do stuff. And it took me a long time to even write a blog because I was scared being like, oh, I'm not very good at writing. I'm not very good at reading.
Yeah.
But actually, I probably am. And I've just had that
Yeah.
ingrained in me from a young age.
Yeah, is that it sort of puts that fear of failure, that lack of confidence. And also it's quite interesting, a lot of people who are neurodiverse or have challenges like dyslexia, etc., are generally ridiculously creative. And whenever I've run sort of writing workshops with young people and with adults, I'm like, don't worry about the mechanics, because it doesn't matter. I mean, I've been writing for like since 2011. I mean, however many years that is. And I taught literacy for 20 years. So my literacy skills are pretty good, I would say.
Yeah.
But my books still go through probably 3 rounds of proofreading. It doesn't matter how good a writer you are, you will then start to read what you think you've written.
Yeah.
And and like you say, whether you're dyslexic or not, you can put something down on page. To you, it makes perfect sense. Someone else will read it and go, I literally have got no idea what you mean with that. Or they'll take it a different way. So, the editing process itself, and obviously we're at that stage now where we've got the first format done, and now we're starting to look at not just the spelling and the grammar and the kind of maybe the odd typo that slipped through the net. And I must say your manuscript was pretty clean, so whoever proofread it has done well. So big kudos to your mum there. But it's not just that. Now that we're formatting and we're sizing the book and we're looking at headings, and you're saying to me, well, I would like it to look like that a little bit aesthetically. It's a really quite a long back and forth process, isn't it? Yeah. Is that more than you expected, or is that about what you expected?
No, we said this the other day. We were going through it again, and I said we were like looking through it. Like my mum had it on her iPad, and I had it on my laptop, and we're going through it, and we're like, let's just check this. Does this need a hyphen? And going through it, and I said, this is actually taking just as long as it does to write it.
Yeah.
Go through all these little bits just to make sure it's so right. And we were like, oh, I'm not sure. And then I was like, well, we need to make sure it's right. We've gone through all this. We've got to get every part of it really right. But then I do think, when you've said before, you can overlook at stuff and you can overanalyze things. And then, we were looking at then changing bits. And I was like, actually, no, it doesn't need changing. Like the ideas are there. It's just the fine tuning, which has taken a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah, there's a fine balance between getting it to be as perfect as it can and then over analysing. I've had that sometimes with authors who keep going back and back. In fact, one of my authors, I was chatting with her on the podcast the other day, Ines, she said at one point, it was holding me back because every time I read a chapter, I was rewriting the whole thing and then I was losing my flow.
Yeah.
So there's a real balance between, yes, you've got to perfect it, but also, perfection is the thief of progress or something like that. You can't keep on and on. But and every time you see it, you'll see it with slightly new eyes, won't you? And my first book, if I was to read that now, there'd be so much I'd change, but you have to kind of get it out there. But it's interesting what you say. The editing process is sometimes longer and harder than writing the actual book, because the book is just you blurting out all of your ideas, and then you've got to go back and make sense. So I think a lot of people are quite surprised by. And I've had some authors who've got a little bit despondent maybe, and a couple who got quite kind of I'm not saying cross is the right word, but a bit irritated by the process, because I think they expected it to come to me.
Really cool.
I edited it, I sent it back, and they go, yay, everything's brilliant. And it really isn't like that, is it?
Yeah. And I think it's having the confidence in your idea. Once you've sat with that and gone, actually, my idea, whether that's, obviously for mine, it's not a fiction one, but my opinions, my ideas, my values are actually valid, and I want to get these out there, and I'm not scared of saying them. That actually is once you've overcome that part, the writing part's okay. Because it's like, you just kind of like, it's almost like a bit like verbal diary. You just get it all out, everything that you've thought. And it's quite cleansing as well to go, especially like one of our chapters is, the evolution of women and women's roles. And it's something that I feel really strongly about. And it just it almost like blurted out within like an hour of me just going, this and this and this and this. So that was actually felt quite cleansing and like the easier part of it.
Yeah, it's a very writing can be a really cathartic process, and also like you were saying, it's interesting. You know, you have to let go of perfection whilst you're writing it. The best thing you can do is to just get it out, because if you keep thinking it, second guessing it, going back, you'll forget. If you're anything like me, you have this brilliant idea, you'll go back, and if you don't do it, then it goes. So
Yeah.
it's almost letting that stream of consciousness, and that's the same for fiction, really. Once you've got your plan, once you know what's going to be in that book, it's best to just let the ideas come, go with the flow, get it down. And like I said before, you know, it doesn't matter what a brilliant writer you are, you're going to need to edit it
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
So you might as well, you know, just get it out.
The only
And
thing
then,
is, I tend to get those ideas at like 2 a.m. when I can't
oh,
sleep. And then I'm like,
every time.
I need to get up and write it down, because in the
Yeah,
morning I'll be like, what was this amazing
yeah,
idea that I had?
yeah, yeah. And I've done that, and I've thought, oh, that's so amazing. There's no way I'm going to forget that.
Yeah.
And I always,
Yes.
always do.
Yeah.
And so obviously the other part of writing a book, so you write it, then you edit it, then you format it several times, and then you've got things like your cover and your blurb and you're about the author, and you've had someone design your cover for you, haven't you?
Yeah, so I had quite a clear like vision in my head, and I'm such an advocate for using other local businesses as well. So actually, the illustrator, she lives around the corner from me in our little village.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and I've seen her work before, and I wanted to work with her on another project, but it didn't quite come to fruition. So I sort of contacted her and said, "Look, can I send you the manuscript? Is it something that you think that you could do?" And she's got 2 young children as well. Our primary target, you know, she's got a baby and a toddler,
Perfect.
and she just read it and she was like, yes, she's like, I am in for this, I can see your vision. And yeah, so she's really embodied everything that I wanted and taken it on, and you know, I absolutely love the cover.
Yeah, it does look great. It does. It's very quirky, and it can be quite hard working with an illustrator of any kind when you've got a fixed idea in your mind,
Yes.
and you're trying to tell that person what's in your head. That can be a bit of a challenge, can't it?
Yeah.
And also the other thing that people really stumble with is the launching. I mean, do you feel quite? I mean, obviously as well for you, slightly different, and slightly different for business people, because you're running your own business, and part of business is sales and marketing, isn't
Yes.
it? You know, when I first set up my business, when someone said, well, you're going to have to do sales and marketing, I was like, but I don't like sales and marketing. I don't want to do sales and marketing. They were like, well, I'm sorry to tell you, if you don't, you're not going to have a business. So you have to do that anyway. So that's kind of can be a baptism of fire for people. And it's the same for authors. I mean, I've lost count of the amount of times people have said, I've written this book, I've published it, no one's buying it. And I'm like, well, you've basically opened a shop and told nobody the address. You know, so do you feel being in business has helped you understand how you're going to promote? I know you're quite active on socials, and you say like your blog and all of that. Do you think that's really helped with the launching of
Yeah, I think it is. And we've had like a pre-order list for a few months now. So we started talking about it a few months ago. We've got an online launch coming in October 25. And then the 11th of October, we've also got a live party where we've got all our teachers that come in, and we've got sort of close, you know, family and people that have supported the business over the years. And it is a massive part of it. And it's exactly like you've just said. We've launched, you know, different locations, and you've got to tell people it's there. Otherwise, it will just sit there and no one will know about it. So yeah, we've got a sort of marketing strategy over the next few months where we're going to really start to get it out there and get people excited about it, and get them on those first weekends really excited about buying it.
And that's the thing about, you know, writing a business book. It's got to work for you, because, you know, it's a lot of time and effort and energy if you're not going to make it work for you. And it's a long game, isn't it? Marketing, it's not a one and done. It's a continuous thing. So it's been so nice to chat to you today. But before we go, what would be your kind of top tip for anyone thinking about writing a book? What would you say? I wish I'd known, a bit like motherhood. I wish I'd known that before I started this journey.
Oh, that's a tough
or has it been quite positive, would you say?
I think it's been overall quite positive. I think I would say have confidence in your ideas, and try not to be as bothered about what other people are going to think. I think as soon as I let go of that and wasn't as bothered that, you know, somebody might think I'm not very good at writing, or they might not agree with my opinion on that. As soon as I kind of let go of that and said, well, no, that's what I believe. That's what's in my blood. This is what I strongly believe. I think it became so much easier. And like you said, it was quite empowering, really, to get it all out and go, actually, this is what I think, this is what I believe other people should be, reading to be supportive as well. So yeah, I think just believe in what you've got to say. That's a big step to get over, and once you've got over that, it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, that's true. And the old adage, write for an audience of one, it couldn't be more true, because if you, like you just said, if you try and write to please everyone, you'll please no one, and you'll dilute your message anyway. So, you know who your target audience is, you know who your ideal client is for your classes, for everything that BabyBeats does. So you're going to write for that one person, aren't you? That one person who's going to be receptive to that message. And there will be loads of other people who get in line behind that person. There'll be some people that your book doesn't work for. That's kind of okay. And there'll be some people who go, my God, I wish I'd found this 6 months ago, so that's really important. So it's just me and my daughter-in-law, we love feel the fear and do it anyway. Exactly. Well, it's been so lovely to speak to you today, Rose. Thank you for giving up your time to spend it with us. And Rose's book, I'm Fine. Now, remind me the subtitle before I get it wrong.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what? I've done this about 3 times now, and I said it the wrong way around. Shall I pull it up so we both get it right?
Yeah.
That's bad, isn't it, when I've got to pull it up as well?
Do you know what, though? You can read something a million times, and if you've written it, you're guaranteed to forget it.
You know what? I think that's what it is. I think the more times that I've actually read it through, I think I just then get all the words in the wrong order.
Yeah. And you've been working on it and second guessing it and changing it and revising it and revamping it until you're kind of, I don't actually know where I started now.
So the official title is I'm Fine, The Truth About Becoming a Mum That No One Warns You About.
Perfect. And that's by Rose, and that's launching online on the 4th of October, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then she'll be having a nice little in-person launch for some of her closest friends and associates, hopefully with some bubbles and something to eat.
Definitely. It's at a champagne bar, so we'll definitely get those in.
Girl after my own heart. I kind of wish I was closer. And Rosie's book will be available for purchase from the 4th of October, and it'll be available on Amazon. We'll also be posting details of it on our website, on the Mabel and Stanley Publishing.com website. So if you're interested in her book, it's a great read. The thing about my job when I edit books, I get to read loads of cool books and I get the hot off the press info. So yes, there's lots of stuff in there that I kind of resonated with me, like, I remember that. Yeah. Even though my son is grown up now, I still have vivid memories. Some good, some not so good. So yeah, it's been wonderful. If you are watching us on the day that the podcast is launched, well done. If not, you'll be seeing it on the replays, and it'll be on the YouTube channel for you to see as well. As always, if you're thinking about writing a book, or if you have any questions about anything that we've talked about today, you can get in touch with me, Karen, at mabelandstanleypublishing.com. I'm always happy to help, and I love to hear from you. So let's get you on the right path.